Okay. So, welcome to Surviving a Hackathon. We are screwed. This is something you will think more and more the closer you get to the deadline. Because you will realize, oh, this is not working. Oh, we haven't finished that. Oh, the design is not complete. Oh, we didn't validate that. And things like that. There's so many reasons that you'll get screwed. So we'll discuss on how to survive to that and to actually build something great in such a short amount of time. To quickly give a little bit of context about me, my name is Ian or Ian Létourneau. Usually no one is able to pronounce my last name. I'm a software engineer. I've been working as a software engineer for about 15 years now. I started quite young. I'm a remote worker, so I travel the world and explore new countries while working. I'm actually working for my own product, which is Noma, which is related to remote working. Aside to that, as a human being, I'm quite addicted to extreme sports, so I also travel to make my own sports in different places, which is usually mountain biking or freestyle snowboarding in winter. And I'm a hackathon enthusiast. I've organized a few hackathons. I've participated to a few of them. The biggest one I actually organized was spanning over 4 days with 400 competitors. So non-stop during 4 days, they had to make challenges, compete against each other, and we had to take care of them for 4 days. So very nice experience. It's different than just 24 hours. So the main thing that I've learned from doing all of these hackathons and competition is that we forget to enjoy the moment. So you will be stressed, you will feel rushed at some point, but just remind that you're here to have fun, you are here to build great products, you meet with motivated people, passionate people, building something great. I checked with the organizer before talking about this slide, just to be sure it was okay with them. So probably many of you already seen that, which is something we call the Ballmer peak. So related to enjoying the moment, there is Ballmer, which worked as a founder of Microsoft, co-founder. Anyway, he was involved into that, and he realized that at some point, when you drink alcohol, you get to a point where your productivity explodes. This is called the Ballmer peak. But there is something very dangerous about this: is one sip too much and you crash, and your productivity is back to zero. So it's very hard to find this sweet spot. It's different for everyone, but usually one pint is enough to get you started and to enjoy the moment and have some fun. This is actually the only tips that I will give that is not professional, so don't do this at your job, but the rest you can actually reuse everything we'll be talking together in your own career, in your own job, with your own teams, etc. You will not have enough time. And this is also true in your business. You will never have enough time to finish what you plan to do. So how do we deal with that? How do we work from that? Especially for a hackathon, there's 3 simple rules, but these 3 simple rules are true for any product. Master the art of screw this, screw it. We won't do it. Always be ready to ship something, to push into production, to have something that works. And avoid merging hell. Maybe they should come. Go get them if they are not here. So, how do we? Oh, perfect. So how do we apply these 3 rules? What do we do to master the art of screw it? To always be ready to ship, to avoid those merging hells. There's something that became a buzzword, and I don't like when things become too much of a buzzword because they lose meaning. This is called the minimum viable product. Anybody heard about MVP? MVP. Yeah, well, that's you want to be the MVP in a game, and you also want to do minimum viable products. Does it look like a viable product to you? No. It's really. So we started all happy, we had time, so we took our time to make something really beautiful, really pretty. And then we realized, oh, we will not have time to finish, so we have to go faster and faster, and in the end we have just a stick to finish the leg of our horse. We don't want to do that. What we call minimum viable product is rather what we shared a few times in Discord already or today and in the past few days actually, is to think about as the end goal is to have a beautiful car in order to go more easily to a destination. But it's expensive to build that. It takes a long time to build that if you start from nothing. So how can I actually get to my destination more easily without spending years designing cars? Well, I can start with a skateboard. It's just board with wheels, and let's go. It's actually harder than that. But okay, then I can improve it, more stability with a handle, and wheels to go faster and to pedal faster. Oh, let's put a motor in it. So every time we have something that works, that is actually shippable, that can actually go to production, that can be actually useful to someone. But how do we do that? It's very easy to draw a skateboard to get to a car in the end, but it doesn't really help us as people building products to know what to do in our daily life to get there. There is something called the user story mapping. Ever heard of that? No. Someone? At least one person? Thanks, V. Okay, right. User story mapping is an exercise where you focus on somebody. You are building your product for somebody. Try to define who is that somebody first, before doing anything. What's their background? What are the challenges they are facing? What are the goals they are trying to achieve? Is there any specific needs they have? Accessibility, sight. Can be, they really need to go faster to do something. It's during related to their goal or whatever. So think about that. Take enough time to define that, because this will drive your decision making. It will help you know what to build later on. And it will especially let you know how can I have something viable for them in a very short amount of time. Because if you don't know who you are building this for, you don't know how to cut your project in increments, in small steps. So take some time. Now we'll do a quick exercise. So let's say our persona that we're focusing on is you in your daily life. Well, maybe not you because you're engineers, so you can work from home, but someone who needs to go to the office. That person has a specific goal, is to go to the office and start working. They need to get their job done. So how do we use what we call story mapping to describe the goals of that person, the activities they need to do in order to understand how we can better solve their problem? So there are different steps. The first one is to focus on the high-level goals of that person. I mentioned it, is in the end to go to the office to work, but there is smaller goals behind that. So for instance, the first goal they have in the morning is to get ready to go to work. When they get ready to go to work, they are able to actually go to work. And once they are at the office, well, they start working. This is the reason why they are there. So highlight these kind of very high-level jobs. Do it for your own project, for your own product that you're building right now. What is the backbone of what they are trying to achieve? After that, go a little bit deep, like in terms of detail of what do they actually do to get ready? Well, first they might probably wake up. This is probably the first thing you need to do in the morning if you want to get ready. Then clean myself. I don't know. Sometimes you do it in the evening, but other people do it in the morning. So after that, I need to dress up. After dressing up, I might have to eat for my big day at work. Then, let's say this is enough to just get ready. I want to focus on going to work. What do I need to do to get to work? I need to prepare my transport, my mean of transportation to work. I need to actually commute to the job. Then I need to end my transport in some ways. We'll see more later what it means. But I'm finally at the office, so I need to keep working, which means checking in the job, saying hi to my friends, to my colleagues, whatever. And then catching up. What happened since I left the last time? This view will help you understand in more detail the step that your users, persona, need to go through for the problem they are trying to solve. Then that it will allow you to actually think about how will I fix those, how I will solve the problems my user have. How can I go through this and offer a system, a service, an app, a program of what that will make them go through all of this more easily. So this part is really more about what are we gonna build for them. So we have to think more details. What do you do in order to wake up in the morning? Any suggestion? Drink coffee, but you're already awake out of bed to drink coffee. So to get out of an alarm. But my persona is more interested in actually waking up naturally. So yes, we can use an alarm, but it's important to focus back on the persona. And in that case, my persona doesn't want any artificial way to wake up because he read or she read in a book somewhere that it was not good. That's really important to circle to who are we building that for, because the solution will be for that persona in general. When we go through all of the steps, it's really a brainstorming activity that we have our teammate here. So there will be a lot of things being thrown at the whiteboard. You don't need to go one by one. You just throw anything. But here we'll go for the sake of the exercise, just one. So the next step in itself, well, just quick shower. Dressing up, I'll pick my preferred clothes, carefully selecting which one I like. Then I'll eat some cereals quickly, ready to have something in the I'll walk to my car to transit to my business. I'll drive, because if I'm taking my own car, I need to drive. I will park in the free parking lot, which is far away from the actual of my office. I will say hi to my colleagues and catching up on the emails. Pretty cool. We have a good way to actually go to work and start working. And now let's say you have only 10 minutes to do all of this because you're late. You're planning to wake up later. Add some more constraint to it, because this is the ideal world in some ways. Everything is good. Everything is going as planned. But life never goes on. And in a hackathon, you have just a few hours to build something. So be creative. Think of different ways to solve your main problems. So suggestion about the alarms. We'll use an alarm to wake up rapidly earlier. What about cleaning myself? Skip. Exactly. What's the first rule? The first rule is to master the art of screw it. So screw the shower. Well, to screw the shower. I don't need the shower. I don't need to build that feature in my product. It's not useful for now. I don't have time for that. It doesn't actually help. So screw it. Dress up. I'll just reuse the same clothes as yesterday. I don't mind. Eat. Screw it. Don't have time for that. Want to go to the toilet? Well, I still use my car because this is the fastest way to go. I'll still drive, but I will go to the expensive parking because it's closer to the door. I can run through the door. Checking in, don't want to say hi, no time for that. And cap, screw it, just start walking. See? We're screwing almost everything. We don't need those. We can actually reach our goals up there, get ready, go to work, and start working. But we, as a giant team, saved a lot of time because we don't have to code anything for this. We don't have to design anything for this. We don't have to do anything about checking in. We don't have anything to do about catching up. That's cool. We saved hours, days, weeks of work. It doesn't mean that by the end we'll not do these things. But today, we can start with smaller increments, smaller bytes, smaller things. And we'll do that for sky's the limit. Like, think about everything. You can use a spa with a massage to clean yourself in the morning. You can have a 3-course breakfast to eat. That's something that might be interesting for our product, so it's still worth noting, but it doesn't mean we'll do them right away. We will start with the most obvious one first. So you have to sort then this kind of storyboard by what is the most obvious to you first. And I'm using the term obvious and not simple, because sometimes something simple will not actually help you to reach your goal. As a client, you reach the goal of the client, or yourself as a business if you have a goal. I'm reusing the vision of the company who hosts us today. We want to conquer cancer with the AI. That's their mission. So it should be reflected on that. And for them, the most obvious might be something, yes, maybe a little bit more complex. But if they don't do that, they will not reach their mission. So if for us we say that we want to prevent them to use their own car, that's our mission. Well, we'll maybe not start with forcing them to take the car. We'll go with call a taxi, because this is the most obvious for us. So sort them out from most obvious to the most complex one, the one that will take the most time for you, energy to do for you. Once you've done that, you can actually think of how a user will go through all of this step in a logical way for the smallest amount of effort for us to build a product for that. And you will highlight a journey that makes sense around that. So, and it's very interesting to have it placed in that way with all your post-it cards, because you can read the story. Does it make sense? I'm John. No, I'm not John. But I'm John this morning. I need an alarm. Then I'm not cleaning myself. I'm reusing my clothes from yesterday. I'm not eating, walking to my car, driving as fast as I can, parking the expensive parking lot. I'm not saying hi to anybody. I don't have time. I'm not catching up on my emails. I don't have time. Is it a story that makes sense to you when you hear it? See some notes? Yeah, an easy way to visualize something. And now we know, okay, this is the first thing we need to build. There is almost nothing to do. Just alarm, clothes, that's it. Done. You have a product. You've built something very quickly. So think about in natural increments of journeys going from the very beginning to the very end. And not taking one on and build everything in one go, because no one will be able to use your product as long as you've completed everything. Remember, I will not scroll back because it will be too complicated. But remember, don't want the horse who start pretty and end with the stick. We want a skateboard, then we want a skateboard with a handle, and then we want a motorbike or a bicycle, which might be this way and this way. So it's okay to just pick one more post-it and do another increment and just go slice by slice. Yes, the first one will be longer because you don't have anything if it's the first thing you're building. But then you can just go one byte and one another byte and step by step. Just Once you have that, just ship it. You can ship it in prod. You have something working, so you can have you using it. But this is what might happen. Because even though you have something working, will ship it in prod, you will realize, oh, we forgot about this, and we forgot about that. Oh, we were wrong about this, and they didn't need that. So that's why we're doing things a little bit differently. And very common in hackathons, team, and everything, because I've been cooking the organization for a while, and so I saw that in many places, is the way they work. It is they work on something. So this is your main changes. You work on that, and you do some more increments. And now you have some other changes to do at the same time as somebody else is working on it. So you kind of spread, go apart from each other and work on your own things. And then, oh, there is another change we need to do somewhere else. So there is another third branch in some ways of work that starts. And everyone, there is people working on this, people working on that, people working on that, going on. And suddenly the team working on this is done, so they put it back in the main product, but the team working on something else done. So they continue, and they get some help from the team that is finished, build something different on the side of it. So they kind of just work on their own, in their own laptop, on way, without sharing back the code to the team. And at the end, they try to bring that all together, to integrate that together. And usually, sorry for those who are not programming, but this is what we will see in the code, in the changes. This means that a ton of changes were added, and now that someone has to make sure that everything is still working as expected. And it will not work. This is what we call a merging hell. When I see this is me leaving my company and my team. I just don't want to deal with that. It's just fuck it. So what do we do with merging hell? How do we prevent that from happening? Because here we're working for 24 hours. So it's not that long, but considering the fact that you have to quickly finish something, you cannot afford this merging hell of changes that you've been on. We really don't want to be exposed to that. It's a big no-no. So here comes the continuous integration. Continuous integration is just a complex term to say every bit of time, say we have 24 hours to build a project, so every single hour, you will bring back your code together, your project together, and try to test it, try to make it work, use it, see if it works. If you actually need to work in separate ways, as soon as someone finished something, take this code back to you to integrate it with your own changes and see if it works. So every bit of change that we do, we quickly integrate it to our main product to make sure that this is still working. Because you will not have time to test everything 15 minutes before the deadline. The deadline is really a deadline for you today. Because once you pass it, it's too late, you're done. So we will always try to keep it to reduce the amount of changes we have in parallel, to have at least the least amount of changes that we can. And if there are some different changes that happens in the product, to just bring them back as soon as we can and try them as soon as you can. So if you have a new design to do it quickly. Try it out, test it, put it back. And then try to connect this front end with the back end, this app with the server with the database. Connect them as soon as you can, as often as you can. So that way, you prevent as much as possible this big ball of code of integration that you need to do at the end. Another thing that you can do once you're like, okay, every single hour we merge our code back together, we try the app and we see if it works, is to then switch to something that we call continuous delivery. So now that you've taken your front end, your back end, your database all together and you've tested them, why not just ship them? So in this case, you need to give a link to your GitHub. So push to your GitHub, make sure that all the code is there and working. You also need to have a live environment that the evaluator will be able to use and test. So update it, make sure it works. So in that case, if you're working on something new, different, but you don't have time to finish it, because you will not have time to finish it, you will already have something working that is just 1 hour ago and not 1 day ago. So continuously bring that code in the final environment of what will be evaluated, what will be used by your clients if it's a real product. How do we do that? Well, it's usually pretty simple. When we work on something, we make some change in the code, we commit those changes. That means we push those changes and put it in common with our friends, colleague, or whatever. Then we have a set of rules, tests that we can do to verify, is it actually working, what we've put together now? So again, if I have a front end, a back end, and a database, I will start the actual app from the front end to the database to check if everything is communicating properly. If it's a mobile app, I will build a package that I can install on my phone and check if it connects to the rest of the services. So I will follow these steps every hour to make sure that I'm able to have something properly packaged that I can ship to production, that I can activate for my users. But that's a step. If you do it every single hours, like you are good students, you're doing it every single hours, well, that's 24 times that you will have to do that. So if you're doing this by hand, might be a bit too long. So try to automation. Think about simple things that you have to repeatedly do every single time you want to push this code to the end user, to your judges, and try to script something or use a tool that already exists, so you don't have to do it manually. So that every single time you push something, it will go through those steps that you define. So for some of you, you're using Git. If you are using Git, you can have commit hooks that you can use for that. So that means every time you commit something to Git, there is a script that starts and executes something for you. If you are using GitHub Actions, if you are Git, you push into your GitHub, there is something called GitHub Actions that you can configure, so it runs the script and the elements that you need. That be just testing, packaging your app. That can also be put into Firebase or AWS using the CLI automatically. And good news for you, GitHub Actions already has a ton of templates that you can use. So it will be easy to check what are my tech stack. Well, I'm deploying to AWS. I will use AWS GitHub hooks to push automatically in there. So that way, I don't have to think about it. I push, the script is deployed, I test my app, cool, I'm happy, and I can work on that. So check what is available to you in your frameworks, tools that you use. Vercel makes it very easy to do that. So if you have a server that you need to serve, or actually a front end, you can go into Vercel and configure, hey, this is my GitHub repository. Every single time there's a push, and execute it. Pretty simple. But take a few minutes to script those things, to configure those things right now, so that you don't have to care about that. You can relax and think about actually building your product step by step in a way that always satisfies my user and the examinators, testers in the end. You got this. I hope you will be able to take a bit of this and actually apply that for this hackathon. And if it's not for this hackathon, in your future jobs or future hackathons. But yeah, try to always think about one step at a time, simplify your life, integrate quickly, and automate what you can automate as you go. And that's it. And